Clinton loved talking about presidential debates. In fact, if he had his way, he and I'd still be talking about presidential debates. For him, it's just talking shop. I mean, it's really terrific. I mean, he loves all that stuff. He made a very serious point, though, and he used the watch thing as an example and the Dukakis thing as an example, that they were confirming things. You say, why would something like that be important? Well, the reason it hurt George H.W. Bush was because of what was already in the wind, as Clinton explained, and I agree with him. What was in the wind is that George H.W. Bush was disconnected with the average American. Remember, he couldn't make the story was he couldn't make a scanner at the grocery store work and all that. You know, here again, if you can't do that, you certainly can't be president of the United States. But at any rate, and with Dukakis, the thing in the wind was that he was a cold fish and all of that, and this fed the perception that was already there. And he also pointed out, Clinton also made the point, the famous sign thing of Al Gore in 2000 with George W. Bush. It was at the University of Massachusetts. And there was a whole story about that. That's when I did moderate. And here again, it was a format, the moderator sitting there and the candidates on standing at the podium. And I went through the whole debate, and when the debate was over, walking out of the hall, one of our daughters, some of the family, my family was with me, and one of our daughters, Amanda, who is here somewhere in his audience here today. Anyhow, I was walking aside Amanda as we were walking out of the hall, and she said, "Oh, Dad, that was really something that Gore did." And I stopped and I said, "What did Gore do? What are you talking about?" And she said, well, all that sign and grimacing and all of that. She said, smart kid, she said, that's going to be the story of the debate. And of course, I didn't know any of that had happened. I was the closest person to him, but I have this rule that I only look at the person who's talking, never at the person who's listening, because I don't want to be part of the reaction. I want to have eye contact with the person who's listening. So when Bush was speaking, I was looking right at Bush, and remember, Gore went, you know, did all that stuff. Well, it came over, he came over as unlikable, and Bush came over as likable. And the people here again, went back to 1960 with Nixon and Kennedy, that the people who listened to the 2000 debate between Gore and Bush on the radio thought Gore won that hands down. People who saw it on television thought Bush won or Gore lost, because it had to do, here again, as Clinton pointed out, there was already some people thought, you know, Gore didn't, you know, there was some negative feelings about Gore as a person, and that sign and all that sort of stuff was a confirming kind of thing. As Clinton said, I could have looked at my watch. Perot could have looked at his watch during the entire debate. It wouldn't have affected anybody, but it had affected George H.W. Bush because it was already in the wind. And that again, when you watch the 2012 debates between Mitt Romney and Barack Obama, that will be part, and just, I mean, everybody here, everybody in the country who's watching those debates is part of taking the measure of the individual. And it's not necessarily a deciding thing, but here again, it can be a confirming thing, a suspicion that you have or a good feeling that you already have about a person, somebody you support or somebody you have some negative thoughts about. They can be confirmed by just a gesture. And to complain about it and say, oh, well, it should be about the issues and this is great. Well, that's like complaining about getting wet when it rains.